All right, you guys. So I'm gonna break down this week. I'm gonna break down this week so far. It's only Tuesday, but I mean, you can see on the chart, I took one, two, three, four, five trades personally, and I called four trades personally for my team. Um, we got one hit TP, right? Multiple TPs, one hit SL, one hit SL, then another one hit SL, right? So we got one win and three losses, right? One win and three losses. Now, I usually don't get more than two, but this week I already have three, and it's only Tuesday. And yeah, I'm not trading on Wednesdays. I don't trade on Wednesdays personally. Well, I try not to. Um, that leaves us with Thursday and Friday, right? So I have Thursday and Friday. So this is why I really felt like this was a good time to do this call. I feel like I show my wins all the time, but it's a good time to do this call when I can show my losses and I can tell you why, right? I kind of labeled it over here. Um, FOMO mixed with the hot streak, right? So fear of missing out with the hot streak, right? It can be a dangerous combination. Now, luckily, I'm not down on the week, just because, I didn't over leverage and that trade that did win, it was a big trade, right? It went about 1,300 pips, right? So it was a big trade. Um, But yeah, man, just got to clean some things up. A lot of things to work on, a lot of things missed. So let's get into this first day, right? Let's get into Monday, right? Now, first off, first and foremost, I was not positioned, right? I was not positioned, and when I say I was not positioned, I mean I was not set up pre-session, right? Um, every trader should have like a pre-session routine, whether that's, you get on the, that's whether you get into the markets 30 minutes earlier, 1 hour, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, right? And when I say get into the market, I mean everything is prepped, right? You're looking at the screen. You're not necessarily taking trades, but you're analyzing the market for the next session, right? And for us, that next session happens to be New York session. That's the session that we trade. That's the session that I trade, right? So everything has to be set up before that session begins. So you have to bring up your trading view. Whatever other app you may use to see the charts on, you have to, look for your zones, see what price is doing, check the time frames. You have to do all of these things. And if you don't do all of these things, right, when the session starts, you'll miss out. And Monday was a good example of missing out, then FOMO, and then, a good trade, with, bouncing back, realizing that this area right here was a liquidity grab area. So I got in and got the money back. But let's talk about the first missed opportunity, right? Now, the first thing I should have done, right? I should have brought this, right? At the 9:30 bell when we broke this point right here, right? For my style of trading, we should have been in a buy personally, right? We should have been in a buy. Um, the reason I didn't get in the buy, like I said before, I was not positioned, right? I did not do all my pre-check things. I was not ready. So when the market aggressively shot up, I missed my chance, right? And that was right? 1,500 pips. Now that would have been my day, right? So regardless of what happened after that, I know that I probably would have taken most, if not all of my money at, 1,500 pips, 1,400 pips, right? Somewhere in between there, right? I'm probably closing at about 1,300 pips, right? So that would have been my day. I would have been looking at the charts no more. So what it would have done after that would have been between the market and the market, right? But that didn't happen, right? I missed it, right? And so with me missing it, this is what I did, right? I got in where I knew that this area was a liquidity grab area, but that's when FOMO sometime can overtake us, right? And it doesn't matter how long you're in the market, right? The chance of you, experiencing FOMO can always happen, right? It can always happen. So I said that if price breaks this point, right? If price breaks this point based on how I trade, I'm going to get in a buy, right? And I did that. And I was, like you all saw, about 1,300 pips late, right? So missed opportunity mixed with FOMO. and then a correction. Right now, I got in this trade on a smaller time frame because I realized that this was a liquidity grab area. So I went to the 3 minute. I'm not a stranger to the 3 minute. Um, I used to get in trades off the 3 minute. So I got in off the 3 minute, right? The same principles apply, right? We're talking about trading, right? Doesn't matter what time frame, right? So off principle, right? And then for another thing, right? I'm getting in once it breaks this zone because this is a valid zone, right? And I know that because I've seen price respected time in and time out. So even if I didn't get in here off a structure, I would have gotten in off it breaking the zone. And because for one, it was a zone, right? Even though price brought up, right? I know that this was a zone, and I know that was a liquidity grab area. And now in a liquidity grab area, price does not tend to break through right on that first time. And this was the first time, right? So even with it doing that massive buy up, I knew that that was a liquidity grab area, and I could look at the smaller time frame and get an entry, right? And that's what we did, right? So you have to be able to use multiple tools in the market, right? You can't just use one or two or three things, right? You have to be knowledgeable, you have to be experience based, you have to be able to make decisions fast. You have to be able to bounce back from, mistakes, right? And a lot of times those mistakes can be mistakes that you cause, right? That's all that trading is. Learning how to trade is not difficult. Learning to manage yourself and your emotions and your money, that is 95% or 90% of the task, right? And that's why majority of the people fail, right? Because you have to be accountable. You have to look yourself in the face at the end of the day and say, this is the reason why I didn't win that trade. Either you didn't know enough, you weren't disciplined, right? You weren't positioned, right? It could be any of those reasons, but every reason is going to be on you, right? So that's why trading is very hard because it requires accountability day in and day out. Whether you win or lose, you have to be accountable, right? So let's get into today, right? Now today, I would say I would just take this first loss, right? Because I'm going with that loss 10 times out of 10, right? So I'm gonna eat that first loss, right? That's just how I trade, right? It just didn't go. Now, um, I can say that these two candles right here were very weak, right? Very weak. So when we did break up, I should have um, noticed that because those candles were very weak. So but I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna take this L, 100% me, right? No fake out, no anything. Didn't move too fast, right? Even though this trade, this missed opportunity, right, was on me, and then also this right here was on me. This is a in any circumstance, I'm taking it, right? So you have good trades, or you have good losses, and you have bad losses, right? So this was a bad loss, right? That's a bad loss. This first one right here, that's a good loss, right? Because 10 times out of 10, I'm taking that. It aligned with, my style. I'm taking that, right? And I can nitpick at a few things, but I'm gonna live and die with that kind of trade, right? Now, this second one, this is my fault, right? So I'm gonna explain this. Now, usually if it doesn't break a point or if candle structure is weak, I'm looking for candle confirmation. And when I say candle confirmation, me personally, I'm looking for a certain amount of candles, right, to form strong in that direction. And then I'm getting in, right? It didn't really do this, right? It formed two and then it dissipated, right? And then it came back up after it formed this point and broke, and I would have gotten that because that's my style, and it would have went straight up, right? So that's a bad loss. This is a good loss. This is a bad loss. So on the week, we would have been 1-1, right? We would have been 1-1. I would have been 2-1, but we would have been 1-1, right? So just off of, and losing is inevitable, right? You're going to lose in the market. You have to be fine with that. But causing yourself to lose, that's what hurts you, right? Because if you can see here, I caused myself and my team to lose two more times than we should have, right? Now I'm gonna finish the week out strong. Now we're gonna get those wins and we're gonna get profit, yet again, right? But you had to take accountability day by day, right? So, you know, two more losses than we should have had off of bad trades. Like I said before, that third loss, or really that second loss before the third loss, I'm taking that every time, right? I'm living and dying with that kind of trade. So I don't have any regret from that. That's a good loss. I'm eating that, every day of the week. So yeah. And then also up here, I have a personal trade. It went about 800 pips. That was the day kind of get back, you know, my my mess ups, right? I kind of waited for the market to show me something, and I got that back, but I don't really feel too good about it because the team didn't get in. I didn't call it, right? Already two losses in one day. I didn't want to make it three, right? Even though I was confident in it because obviously I'm taking it. I don't want to risk anyone else's money because I know that I was sure. But just because you're sure, right, doesn't mean the market is going to go in your favor, right? So we have to remember that. Um, Especially if you have these groups and you're, helping people make money, you have to be cautious of that, right? Don't, overtrade them. Don't overtrade yourself, right? But yeah, man. So that's just Monday and Tuesday wrapped up. I thought it would be important to get on here and show you guys some losses, right? Rather than, just major wins all the time, right? One, two, three, I can go down the list, right? But it's important to show losses and to talk about losses and talk about how you could have prevented them, right? Because most losses, right, like you saw, two of the three losses were my fault, right? Two of the three losses were my fault, right? Now, all the losses were my fault because I pulled the trigger, but I'm saying, bad losses, right? Bad losses add up. Good losses you can live with. If you have good losses, right, and wins, you'll be profitable. But if you have bad losses, and good losses, it'll be very hard to be profitable, right? It'll be very hard to be profitable. So to limit that, you have to limit the mistakes you do. Echoing off FOMO, fear of missing out, and you have to, be sure. And if you're not sure, don't enter the trade because either it's going to show you something later on, right? It just not might not be right then and there. It'll show you something later on, right? So you have to be patient, which is, 90% of the battle as well, being patient, right? That's all trading is, right? Being patient. Or that's mainly what trading is, right? Being patient, right? It's going to show you something. And if it doesn't, just sit on your hands, right? And I didn't do that in either one of these losses. So yeah, that's the outcome of that. But hope this call can save you guys. It can help you guys, give you a little insight to how you should be thinking pre-trade session, how you should be thinking after the trade sessions, right? Whether you win, lose, or draw, be able to go back, analyze what you did, um, and just build off of that, right? So I hope this call helped you guys and see you guys at the top because the bottom is not an option.